Welcome to the Awaken Sober Podcast, a podcast about life and recovery through Christ. How's everybody doing tonight? My name is Derek. Welcome. To my right, we have Pastor Shane.
Good evening, good evening.
Diagonally from me, Pastor Jeremy.
Hello.
Hello there.
Winky.
And the one and only DJ, Jimmy James, sitting right across.
Wiggy, wiggy, wiggy.
There we go.
See, now that's what I was waiting for last week.
We need to get that
was
set
a
up.
little sound effect in there
Right.
of a DJ scratching a record. It would have been good.
You know, I looked and I couldn't find anything that I really liked. There was a bunch of them out there and they just sucked.
Really?
Yeah, it's like someone needs to make one that just goes wiggy, wiggy, wiggy.
Use your voice.
You can do it.
Record it.
Oh, I don't want to get copyright strikes. No.
What copyright? Who the hell's that? Wiki copyrighted. Add another beat.
Do you remember Nucleus?
Who?
Jam on it.
Yeah.
Jam on it.
I actually had that song on Apple Music. I just downloaded it a couple weeks ago.
There you go. See, and that's what I'm looking for. I want that wiggy, 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 wiggy. Shut up. Wiggy, wiggy. You know, that's what I'm looking for.
So we'll have to get that for you. We'll find it somewhere.
Yeah.
It won't be too hard.
Definitely got to have it.
Except for the copyright strike.
Well, we'll find it on your one website.
I looked.
We'll find something. So, yeah, I mean, tonight is going to be a fun night. But, Jeremy, how is it with your soul?
It's good.
I love the way he elaborates. Right. He said swell last week.
I know. That's why I said good. Oh, my gosh.
So here I owe Jeremy an amends. Jeremy,
Uh-oh.
sorry for snapping at you a little while ago.
That's all right.
In my little frustration, I gave you control and power over me. And I snapped at you.
I don't think you did.
You
Sorry
was
about
renting
that, my
free
brother.
space in his mind.
Right.
You what?
You were renting free space in his mind.
Yeah. I was thinking of other things.
There's a lot of open space in his mind to rent. So
Well, thank you.
that's why we could have all the free space we want.
There
But
you
no,
go.
how is it with your soul, brother?
It's pretty good. Yesterday, I learned a lot with Father's Day. I told you about that. I had a rough Father's Day yesterday. And so I was able to pull myself through it with the help of you and going to church and just talking to other people.
Yeah, it was good seeing you at church yesterday.
It was.
You got to come down there
Bluegrass.
and hear a little bluegrass.
Woo!
See, we could get the wiki, and we could get the Children of the Corn music.
You definitely got to have the banjo.
Oh, jeez.
Especially when we bring up Mr. Higgins.
Oh, jeez.
Ooh, be careful, man. He's going to hear that, and he's going to let you know in the comments that Mr. was dad.
Mr. Oh, yeah, he will too.
Oh, he's not one of those, is he really?
Oh,
Yes,
yes.
he is.
Okay.
He's brought that to my attention multiple times.
Yeah, he
But
don't.
you're just being respectful.
Yeah. But
But Jim's not that old yet.
he's older than me.
He's older than me.
We all know he's
than
older
me.
than Jeremy.
He's older than everybody.
Everybody is here.
At this table, let's be nice about it.
Yeah. So Jimmy James,
Yeah,
how was
good.
it with your soul?
Better? I guess. I don't know. My soul's in turmoil. I'm just going to say that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a good word.
Turmoil, yeah. But I did have a good day today, so that helped.
Man, one day at a time.
That's
What
right.
happened today?
We had a gift card for Top Golf. Went to Top Golf and hit some balls for a couple hours. And then we stopped at Golf Galaxy, and I got some clubs regripped. So I'm excited to use those. I should have did that first, but, you know.
So I guess we're going to go out swinging pretty soon.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm ready.
I mean, I have irons in my garage, and I have a bag somewhere in my garage, so I could just combine them and we could go.
That'd be fun.
We'll bring Jeremy because I don't know, why not?
Oh, and you got to bring last week's guest because he lives for that stuff.
Yeah, but
yeah.
He might
I
outplay
at least want to
everybody.
swing once before I have competition because I'm too competitive. I might have
That
to.
is true story.
I might have to like saw part way through his clubs so that way it goes flying.
You won't need to do that.
Oh, he's not that good.
He's not going to be joining the PGA Tour anytime soon.
Ooh, wow.
Mike, I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you.
Love
bro.
you, buddy.
Warning.
Derek, how is it with your soul, brother?
Oh, my goodness. Well, my daughter's home. And it's
Yeah,
just
buddy.
awesome, dude, that she's there. But one thing that the Lord brought to my attention this morning on my way to the gym, I did not think about it. Dude, we talk about joke around, but I married up. Dude, I married up.
Yeah, we know.
My wife straight up stopped what she was doing, got off of work, showered, got in the vehicle, drove after being up for the last 10 hours, and drove 13 hours to go get my daughter. Put up with some people, and if they listen to this podcast, guys, I'm really trying to make amends with y'all. It will happen the time when God makes it right, but some people I did not trust, and she faced them, handled everything. Everything went well, and now my daughter's home, and it's like I'm more excited about the woman I married than my daughter being there, which is really weird feeling, but yeah.
I get it. It was good to see that picture of you and her together. I know
Yes, it
you put it on
was.
Facebook, and
Yeah.
you also sent it. So that was
Yeah, that was awesome.
that was great.
That was great. My wife, though, man, that's what's up.
I can't believe that you really had any doubts that she would not be able to handle it.
It wasn't that. I just let's move on.
He's gonna start
with
crying
you.
again. He's gonna start crying again.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with him.
No,
crying.
I
Did he
know.
cry today?
Well,
There's a
No.
cloth right
he
here.
showed me the picture last night, and I started crying. I mean, I was an emotional wreck yesterday. Then I was like, I'm crying, dude. Like, thanks.
I cried when she came to the door, man. It was like they pulled the garage. I heard the garage door open, and as soon as the garage door opened, I went to the the door to the house, and I'm just waiting for her to get out. It was
Just so people know, why are you so excited about getting your daughter?
Okay, so I just met her for the first time last July.
And she's how old?
13. Yeah, so I did not see my daughters for 12 years. I met her for the first time last July. I mean, the first time she ever called me dad, I wasn't even like paying attention.
Yeah, he said that.
It was funny because my other daughter's like, Dad, she's talking to you. Like, what did you say? I said, Dad. Oh, my bad. Like I didn't expect it to come from her.
Oh,
But
jeez.
I'm not used to hearing that, Dad.
Right.
within this last year, going on this last year, things have just really built up between me and her, and my 13-year-old daughter's home with Dad. It's amazing. My 18-year-old, she's 18.
Yeah.
Just leave it at that. Boyfriend, friends, job, all that stuff,
So she's staying there until.
until she realizes how good the other one has it.
So I told Derek the other day. I said, "Look, last time it was the older one had to come first and make sure Dad was okay before the other one would come. She stayed a little standoffish. I said, now look, she came, and once the other one figures out, oh, it's okay to live with Dad, she'll be down. Her and boyfriend to break up or something to happen. She's like, I'm coming.
Her and boyfriend will break up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're young.
We can make that happen.
She listens to this podcast, guys, all right?
We still love you, but yeah, we hope to see you soon.
Yeah.
This is where you belong.
Amen.
Good old Missouri.
Yep. Misery.
Misery.
So who wants to go through where we're hanging out at now?
Whoa. Time out. I'm sorry. How's your soul?
Oh, there you go.
Oh, turn the
How is
table.
my soul?
Yeah.
It is well with my soul. I have one more week. This was my second to the last week of preaching at my temporary appointment. So I have one more sermon to write, which kind of makes me a little happy. One thing I don't like to do is just sit there and write sermons. If I keep writing them, maybe I'll get a little bit better and faster at it, but it takes me forever because then I write it all out, then I start to rehearse it, and then it's like another 10 hours of edits, to be able to have it the way that I want to speak it versus the way I want to write it. Two totally different things. And so it is well. I have that one more week, but you were with me the other day when we were getting ready to go play disc golf on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to go see the space that's getting ready to come for Reclaiming Hope for the building. So we got to go wander around 3,200 square foot that is kind of filled with
Workout gear.
a big old fan and a bunch of CrossFit stuff. And so they're in the process of getting all their stuff out, and that way we can start building and doing things on the inside. They should have everything out by the end of the month. And so hopefully it won't be long. We'll be in there and having a little fun. I mean, they got to build a wall. They got to build a couple other things, but
Build a separate room just for the podcast.
now that would be awesome.
That would be really awesome.
It's not going to happen at that location, but it will definitely happen at the next.
Mm.
We'll have a whole recording studio.
Nice.
I mean, it only makes sense. It don't have to be big. I mean,
No.
I like just walking out, doing it in my basement.
yeah.
So Jeremy says, have it here.
Yeah.
Well, then we need to. We'll have
we,
to add.
We
to
need
it.
to add some feng shui or. I don't
Yeah.
know. I need
Get
to-
rid of this pool table or something.
I need to. I don't use it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, some
Some feng shui.
couches or chairs to sit around would be.
We need a theater room brought out here is what we need.
This is true. This is true.
We could bring lights to the theater room, but
Yeah, we could do that too.
so
Oh, dude, can you imagine? We could put that on the screen in the background.
well, that's what. Yeah,
It'd be
wouldn't
awesome.
hurt.
All right, back on topic.
Well,
We haven't
yeah.
even started the topic yet. This is the topic.
I know.
How's your week?
Yeah, it was never a topic yet, but and I guess another reason my soul is okay is I've spent this whole week between sermon and getting things ready for Awake and Sober, trying to get the website up and going, trying to get different things going because I could only work on something for so long. And so we have awakensober.org just started, so you could catch most of the podcasts there. This week, we will actually be able to put videos up there as well.
Nice.
And so we'll have the videos on there, regular podcasts on there. And now, anywhere that there's a podcast available, you could find Awake and Sober. So whether that's Apple,
Google,
Spotify, Google, you name it, any place that you want to
Audible.
listen to,
Audible, yeah.
any place that you can listen to a podcast, we are there. So if you don't mind, like, share, subscribe, do all those good things. Follow, I guess, is another thing that a lot of them says.
Yep.
Follow, but share it with somebody.
But here's the key, though. We've got access to all these extra email addresses to make it simple on people. Which email address should they email us at?
I mean, the .org keeps it small and short. So
Sure.
info@awakensober.org.
info@awakensober.org.
And that way all of us have access to it. And I put your just names in there to where if you hand it out, but it all goes into that same email.
Okay.
So it's not like it's a different email. But if somebody emails jim@awakensober.org, you'll know that it was just for you. But just to do it to do it is why.
So info at
Info.
awakensober.org.
Yep.
Big changes.
Over. They can still contact us at Awake and Sober Podcast at gmail.com.
Multiple ways.
Yes.
Yeah, and see if we drop that one, it'd be a little bit easier just to have one centralized location where if they're entering awakensober.org to get to a website, it's easy to remember info@awakensober.org. It's the same
Son of a gun.
kind of the purpose of doing it. And that's why we bought the domain to it. That way we could have all that. So, yeah, it's been an exciting week.
Nice.
Exciting week. It's fun to see all these changes and see a podcast go everywhere. You know, you guys were like little kids today sending off that little thing. Hey, we're on iTunes. Hey, we're on Google.
Dude, you darn right. Every page I listened to an episode on every one of those too, just to see how we sounded on it.
And
We sound better on Apple, Google, Audible.
Then where?
then Spotify?
Yeah,
I was going to say Spotify sounds good.
it's decent, but
Now, were you listening in your car though?
yes, I was. Of course, I was.
So maybe that's the difference. It's something to do with those apps in your car. So we need to tell our people, try Apple, Google, or Audible.
And do what works for you.
Yes.
Nice, just like we do in recovery.
Oh, I like how you did that. That's the smartest thing he's said in years.
Probably.
Oh, no, it is.
Maybe this year.
But if you do want to see a video, right
YouTube?
now you better go over to YouTube
Yeah.
or the website.
Right.
Yeah,
So when this gets uploaded later, yeah, it'll have to be the website or YouTube. So
there you go.
Or they could just listen so they don't have to see our ugly mugs up in the first place.
Speak for yourself.
I was.
Okay.
Derek said he had a face for radio.
We all said he had a face for radio.
It's true. So
It's because he doesn't have a beard hiding it.
Right.
The
I
beard
am the
just hides
beardless
the chins.
I am the beardless wonder of this podcast.
So today we're going to do a little depression. We're going to talk about Elijah out of 1 Kings.
Elijah or Elisha?
Not Shah. This is Jah.
Yeah.
Yep, Elijah. I remember that sermon. What, were you there for that sermon? Down at the church in the city when he was talking about both Elisha and Elijah.
Down at Shaw.
No. This happened somewhere else. It was a brand new Celebrate Recovery. Don't bring your chump change was the name of the message.
No.
Oh, it was fabulous. I mean, it didn't belong
bring
at
your
Celebrate
chump
Recovery for their opening night, but
Sure.
it was a great message. Don't bring God your chump change.
Yeah.
It was pretty awesome. So who wants to dive in? Read 1 Kings 19, 3 through 12, and then we could go back and just start breaking it down and talking about it. And
Well, yeah.
I got it pulled up here.
I was going to say we're going to get into the topic of today's show after we
Yes.
talk about that.
Yes.
So that just for the people who are listening, this isn't a Bible study podcast today. We're still doing recovery. We're still doing life in Jesus.
yeah, and I was about to say, I said we were going to talk about depression, but we're going to talk about it through the story of Elijah.
I wasn't listening.
That's okay. Put some earphones in. Might help. Put them earphones in.
Right.
So, yeah, maybe, I thought I did, so let's just do it. We're going to talk about depression today, and we're going to use the story of Elijah, even though there's tons of stories throughout the Bible that we could use, lots of people that we could end up using.
Job.
Yeah, very much so. I think that's too easy.
Job.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but when people hear Elijah, they're like, where does depression and Elijah meet?
Mm.
And I think that's what's really fun to talk about. Because how many of our friends, how many people that we know, do we look at them and go, oh, you struggle with depression?
All of them.
Well, yeah.
But really, we don't just look at somebody and know they struggle with depression.
So that's the purpose. You see Elijah in the Bible, and you really don't think, with all the things he did and how he was blessed by God, you really wouldn't think that he struggled with depression. But Bible scholars say he was a colorful yet depressed man. So,
Okay.
Well, I mean, I struggle with that myself, and one of the best ways out of it is to laugh. So the colorful part could be laughter, humor.
yeah, without a doubt.
That's why I keep Derek around.
All right. 1 Kings 19, verse 3. Elijah was afraid, and he ran for his life. When he came to Beersheba in Judah, he left his servant there, while he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness. He came to a broom bush, sat down under it, and prayed that he might die. I have had enough, Lord, he said. Take my life. I am no better than my ancestors. Then he lay down under the bush and fell asleep. All at once an angel touched him and said, "Get up and eat." He looked around, and there by his head was some bread baked over hot coals and a jar of water. He ate and drank and then lay down again. The angel of the Lord came back a second time and touched him and said, "Get up and eat, for the journey is too much for you." So he got up, ate and drank. Strengthened by the food, he traveled 40 days and 40 nights until he reached Horeb, the mountain of God. There he went into a cave and spent the night. The word of the Lord came to him. "What are you doing here, Elijah?" He replied, "I have been very zealous for the Lord God Almighty. The Israelites have rejected your covenant, torn down your altars, and put your prophet to death with the sword. I am the only one left, and now they are trying to kill me too." The Lord said, "Go out and stand on the mountain in the presence of the Lord, for the Lord is about to pass by." Then a great and powerful wind tore the mountain apart and shattered the rocks before the Lord, but the Lord was not in the wind. After the wind, there was an earthquake, but the Lord was not in the earthquake. After the earthquake came a fire, but the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire came a gentle whisper. Where Elijah heard it, he pulled his cloak over his face and went out and stood at the mouth of the cave. Then the voice said to him, "What are you doing here, Elijah?"
pretty brutal. So I love the way that it begins in verse 3 when Elijah goes and sits under a broom bush. I guess that's what really I was able to connect the dots with what Elijah had said in that verse, saying, take my life, Lord. I am no better than my ancestors. And that's where we could really see that suicidal ideation, that depression really starting to set in, and the correlation between depression and suicidal ideation. Because they say depression is the leading cause of suicide. One thing that we hopefully think about every once in a while when we have friends that struggle with depression. But anybody ever feel that way? Take my life. I am no better than my ancestors.
Today? I'm just
In general.
I have to honestly say, yeah, I've been through that. Not that long ago. Speaking of Elijah, my brother Elijah, I shared it before, had passed away a couple years ago. And the time that it happened, he was coming to celebrate recovery with us. He was, my brother was a bit of a hard guy, and but he's opening up in small group and that, and so I'm like, wow, something's really going to happen. And then, next thing I know, 2 weeks later, he overdosed. And I thought, here I am, what I thought as a pastor in recovery, and I could not even save my own brother. God, why are you even putting me to work? If I can't even save my own people, what am I going to do for anybody else? And yeah, pretty really where Elijah's at here is like, I'm done. Because I didn't think, like I said, if I couldn't help my own brother out, my own family, my own people, what was I going to do for anybody else?
But it's not you.
Yeah, I get that now, thank you. But at the time when it happened,
Right.
and as quite a few of y'all know, and that was the time where I started declining a lot in my life and my actions towards other people. I didn't seem to care about anybody, even myself. I really just got really depressed, and I wasn't grooming myself properly, and everything, and until I finally got called out on it. Thank God for accountability teams and sponsors, let me tell you. And I got to wake up and realize, like you said, it wasn't my fault. I had to quit blaming myself for that. And
Right, because it's not about you. You can't fix someone.
no, I cannot.
Only God can do that. And they have to want to be fixed. They have to want that. And I think everyone in this room knows that because we have seen plenty of people come and go in and out of recovery programs. They've been sent to the wonderful oasis of Las Vegas and played basketball and had all these fun times and to work on themselves. And then they come back, and what's the first thing they do? Relapse. While still maintaining that they're working their program. So, yeah, that's one thing that we, as the people on this side of sobriety, have to remember is we can't force people into the sober life.
No. And I mean, not with the sober life, but one thing that we have to be aware of, and I think that's why the mental health side of things is so important to talk about. Depression is so important to talk about because that's the one thing that no matter what we could step into.
Mm-hmm.
That
is, yes.
The addiction side, yep, Derek couldn't have did anything for his brother, but we had to be there for Derek when he was in that tailspin because you hit a low.
Yeah, I did.
And what did you do? And I don't want to get too far ahead, but what did you do?
Which part? Where are we actually talking about?
When you hit your low, what did you do? How did you climb out of that low? How did you start to? What steps did you take?
I started actually working my recovery. I started going. I went to go see a psychiatrist. I went to go see a therapist. Spoke with them. Was properly medicated because what I got from my primary care just wasn't quite working for me. But I surrendered. Everybody was noticing it. I wasn't noticing about myself, and when it got brought to my attention, I surrendered because I was just like, dude, yeah, I'm at that point where I need that break. I can't keep going on like this, and so, yeah, is that what you're looking for?
I was just looking for an answer.
Looking for the truth, really.
It was the truth.
We can handle the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
So,
But can we take a second to call out primary care doctors who should not be prescribing
psych meds?
psych meds? I wasn't sure what proper terms would like psych meds, because even before I got into recovery and even before I really knew a whole lot of things, when I heard people say, "Oh yeah, I just went to my doctor and he prescribed me Prozac or Zoloft or whatever," and I looked at them and I said, "Well, are you getting counseling along with that?" "Oh no, why would I do that?" "Well, you can't just take a drug and it's going to magically make you better. Poof, you're better. Poof, just like that. Poof." It doesn't work.
How's that go?
Poof. Right? And even back in my youth, when this kind of stuff came out, I knew that. I knew that was wrong for a primary care physician to prescribe things like that without saying, "Okay, well, I'm going to prescribe you this, but I want you to go see a psychologist, psychiatrist, someone to talk to about these things, because you need to do both."
Yes.
Yeah, the psychiatrist is going to spend more time with you to truly diagnose you.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with walking into a primary care physician that don't have a good psych background, if you struggle, if you have really high anxiety and something bad just happened in your life, that anxiety can look like depression. And so then they prescribe a depression med for you.
That's going to make your anxiety worse.
Well,
Possibly.
it actually make you numb. And we have somebody close to us where that happened, right? They just didn't care about anything anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it could drive you closer to the edge of suicide or just pushing you over the edge in general. I mean, if your kids aren't bringing you joy, if the thing that has always filled you up don't even sound appealing to you anymore, then there's something wrong. And that's the difference between sitting down with a psychiatrist, letting the psychiatrist truly diagnose you, talk to you, diagnose you, find out everything going on, and 5 minutes in a doctor's office when he comes in and he says, "Well, turn your head, cough, and here's your Prozac to leave with." It don't work well.
That's what he had to come up with. Turn your head and cough.
Well,
But it's not just that, though. One thing I've come to notice, when you're talking with a psychiatrist, it's you and that psychiatrist for the 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 45, whatever it is you're speaking with them. It's just you. That primary care's got you, the person in the room next to you, probably 3 more is down the line. So, yeah, they're not really focusing on you and what can help you. Just take this and let me know how it works,
take 2 of these and call me in the morning.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, call me in 4 to 6 weeks.
Right? Yeah.
But yeah, and if you have a hard time getting into a psychiatrist, look, send us an email. We'll send you recommendations. I don't care where you live. I'll reach out to the people that I know in your state and see who they recommend, because like the ones around here, we know, and we only use certain psychiatrists.
And they use telemed.
Yeah, some of them use.
They might meet somebody up in New York. You never know.
So
we'll find out for you.
Now, how well do you think the church does on this topic?
Depending on which church you have, yeah, could be poorly, could be not so poorly. But I'm going to say, let's just talk in generalities. I'm going to say poorly.
Yeah, I would say most of us have done pretty poorly. Just pray about it. Just pray about it. It'll be better, or it's just a season. It too shall pass.
Ooh.
Take a couple weeks off. Come back when you're better.
Yeah, your chemical imbalance will just fix itself.
But and that's what's good about doing a podcast like this, right? And talking about it, because when you're in a small church and you give a message on it, you have that audience, and that's really it. Mm-hmm. And whoever they decide to tell afterwards, Here we have a much larger audience that we can end up reaching overall.
We got a bigger platform.
And so
Worldwide.
when we're just conditioned to say it's a season, it'll get better, just pray about it. If I broke my leg, what would you do for me?
Make fun of you.
But what else would you do while you were making fun of me?
And then try to put it back into place, depending on how it was broken.
Well, I mean, if it was broke and I was sitting there, we were playing disc golf and I decided to be dumb and jump over a tree or trying to make you fall off the bridge and I broke my leg.
I'd get you to the doctor.
You know what I was going to say? I'm calling 911.
Yeah.
I would call 911. That's not worth. You don't call 911 for that.
You're paying the bill on 911.
Yeah.
But you would take me to the doctor to get my leg looked at so they could put a cast splint, whatever they needed to do to it.
Right.
How come with somebody that struggles with depression, we go, just pray about it?
Because you can't see it.
Or they don't understand it.
Both.
I think it's more they don't understand it.
But yeah, they can't see it, so they can't really understand it and they can't believe it.
Mm-hmm.
But yet they have faith in God. Can't see it. And they
Does
try
this
to
go back
understand
to how Catholic priests do marriage counseling?
No.
Because they've never experienced that, so how can they really give you good advice?
it. But it's one of those things that has always bothered me a little bit. If I was sick, you would tell me to stay home and take care of myself and do these things, go see a doctor and get medicine. But yet when I struggle with depression, you tell me to pray about it.
I like what when James was talking about most doctors don't know anything about this, so they'll prescribe you anything. So at the recovery center we work at, we get a lot of physician assistants in their residency. And every single one of them, and we've had 4 that I know of right now, every single one of them come in and said they dreaded this place. Like they dreaded coming there. First and foremost, we're in the middle of nowhere. They don't know anything about addiction, So they're here, they have to do this, was it 4 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever it is. And today was the PA's last day, and we've had a heck of a week. And he comes in, and I was like, "What are your thoughts on this now on the recovery side of it?" He goes, "I think every single medical doctor, or physician assistant, or advanced practice nurse needs to come and do a residency in one of these."
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was like, "I totally agree with you."
Yeah.
Yeah. That way they learn a little bit about
Yeah, just understand it.
Yeah.
Get a little empathetic.
Yeah.
And not only that, but maybe get some extra training so you can diagnose properly before you just.
Correct.
I mean,
So does that go for clergy as well? Because,
clergy does not diagnose.
no, but the empathy part, like if you're telling me that you have depression, I say, well, just pray about it. It'll get better. To me, that's not very emphatic.
True. I agree. And they do actually have things for clergy to take, continuing education, you name it. And a lot more resources have become available to clergy to do. So it's pretty nice. I mean, we would go to annual conference and train people.
Yeah.
So
Not
I mean,
anymore.
No, not anymore. I
I
did.
mean, you could.
I-
I can't.
You can. I mean, anybody
I
can
mean,
go
I
train
guess I
them.
could go there. Yeah.
Yeah, anybody could train them. But I only have one more week left, brother, and then I'm done as well.
There you go.
So I just did it because I had to fill in some time, and God wanted to show me some things along the way, and I got to learn. So let's go back to that story of Elijah sitting here, and that 1 Kings 19:3-4. But whenever he said that, he went a day's journey into the wilderness, came to a broom bush, sat down underneath it, and prayed that he might die. I have had enough, Lord, he said. Take my life. I know better than my ancestors. What do you think? I mean, truly he was. I mean, you know what had just happened, because I know you wanted to go back and kind of read that way back then. But I mean, he was a guy running for his life. I think most of us, I know you, where were you at the end of your addiction?
The end of a barrel. I was literally staring down at the end of a barrel. I was done. The depression was too much. The anxiety was too much. The guilt, the shame, all of it.
And what was next for you?
Treatment.
Treatment?
Yeah. Yeah, the day I wanted to end it all, I ended up in treatment that night. Because there was something that happened that morning that changed everything. So,
Yeah, and I wrote a letter at the end of mine, and I get to read it in my testimony. Well, I get to read the edited version. Obviously, I can't read the actual version when it's a little long, so it'll take up half a testimony, but and the language isn't proper for a church. You know, and for me, being able to relive that darkest period of my life, just by reading the testimony, I've yet to read it live and not cry. Because, I mean, just the pain that I feel in it. So after this happened, Elijah actually gets visited by an angel of the Lord. And so the angel of the Lord came up to him. It says the angel came up all at once, touched him, and said, "Get up." And I think that's one of the. I think to me that's one of the big.
you ain't no angel of the Lord, bro.
This is very true.
And so, what's one thing that we like to do when we struggle with depression really bad?
Sleep a lot.
Isolate.
Isolate, sleep. And sleep is good for us on a schedule, but sleep when we close off the shades and we sleep all day, or just try to isolate in a room, curl up in a ball in a dark room, and that's.
Why are you looking at me when you say that?
Well, I'm just looking across. I got to look at one of you guys.
We'll just sit back here and look at each other, right?
That took a turn.
It usually does. It usually does. So,
Anyway, real quick though, I do remember one time reading this that the actual where it said angel, the A was capitalized, and it was said that it may have been Christ himself that had come down and chilled with Elijah at that time.
He chilled with him.
he chilled with him.
Yeah.
He chilled with them.
That's what he does.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, man, that dude partied.
They didn't have Netflix.
Crowds of like 5,000 people for a fish fry. Come on.
So let's get back to the other.
I left my house for this.
When we're looking at depression, a good night's sleep is proper, but I think a couple of you people here like to nap. James, you like to nap too?
Yeah. Just
All
don't
right,
do
I
it.
guess I'm the only one at the table that don't like to nap.
I like to nap. I never do it though.
Yeah,
That's true. I haven't been
I
able
have
to
that
nap since
CPAP
I
machine,
full-time
man,
work.
and I just like I don't want to because I don't sleep good if I take a nap in there, and then I'm not going to go to bed and put my CPAP on.
see, my wife is a professional at it.
Gold medal Olympian right there.
I could do one of these, and Amy will just
Right.
anywhere.
They're a different breed.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And so, yeah, for her, it's an hour and a half to 2 hour nap, but hers is just a guaranteed 2 hours. Now, there's been times that the depression was pretty bad and she slept a little bit longer, but it's a 2 hour nap during the day. And that could be good for our mental health, right? We just got to make sure that it's all for the right reasons, right hearts, and right reasons that we're actually doing it. Another thing for get up, take a shower, because we know that, and Derek, you said it earlier, your hygiene wasn't the greatest during that time, right?
Right.
And so there's times like if I know that she's struggling really, really bad, I come up to her, Christina, shower, go, and then we're going to go shopping. Ooh. See, you said, ooh, I like to shop, but I'm not taking her shopping to buy her something to try to get her out of her depression. And that's the whole thing. We usually go out and we go look for a journal because she loves a new journal.
I just got one from Target yesterday.
Did you?
It's a flat one. It's a moleskin cover. It lays flat. It's really cool.
See, and that's one that she needs because you're a lefty when you write. No, you write right-handed. You only do other things left-handed. Play disc golf.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Christina being a lefty needs that because otherwise it's really hard for her to write. And
Yeah. And the ink that doesn't smear.
yeah. Yeah, without a doubt. And so for her to get up, take a shower, and we go shopping, that's key for her and her depression and helping in that.
Couldn't take an off nap and also be a form of isolation,
It could be,
you know?
but that's why right heart, right motive. And if somebody's coming up to you and saying, hey, look, and you see that they've been trying to work things a little bit different and they take a nap, not that big of a deal most likely.
Right.
But if they're just hiding out in their room the entire time and they don't come out, then there's something wrong. You just got to go grab them out and you're taking them. Open up the curtains, let a little sun come in.
I'd like to live.
Well, but when she's going through that, she's okay to do that with. Like if it was like today where she's like really good in her mental health and I walked in there when she was napping and I opened up the blinds and turned on the lights and said, come on, babe, let's go.
You'd get stabbed.
Yes.
Yes.
Or I'd lose a big toe.
And mine is works days, midnights, afternoons. She's all over the place at this point. So I really don't know either way. So I just try to
Not poke the bear.
I don't poke the bear. No. No poking the bear. I want to live, and you know, I'm already at a disadvantage with fingers. So let's move on.
Well, she can make the other hand match that. She can make the left hand match the right hand.
Right.
Then guitar might be a little bit
That
harder.
would kind of suck.
Guitar would be a little bit harder.
I'm sure he'd figure it out.
But what's another reason that I might actually take my wife out shopping?
It's a birthday.
Change her thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Or just get her out of the house to go anywhere. Really.
yeah, but the reason I do it is to start changing her thinking.
Yeah, change
Yeah.
your focus.
Yeah, it's
changing her focus because he can't change her thinking.
No.
You're not.
oh
gonna.
yeah, her thinking is really easy to remap, and so we'll go into remapping in just a second.
Squirrel.
Duct tape. Do you have any duct tape available, Jeremy?
I do.
All right, we may need it.
I understand.
Well, wait. We can just.
We
do
can't
this.
fix it, but we can muffle the sound.
And we can just mute him.
So, yeah, whenever we start to change her thinking, right? And here's what Proverbs says. Proverbs 17:22 says, "A cheerful heart is good medicine, but a crushed spirit dries up bones." So if we could start having her think a little bit different, thinking in a positive way, thinking instead of, that was a lot of ums in a row, instead of all that negative thinking, because am I looking for all the bad and everything that's good, or am I looking for the good and everything bad? You know?
Right.
So that's the whole purpose, is really to start retraining her brain, having her think different. I don't know if any of you have been told, Jeremy, you might have had a chance since you went to AA. Were you ever told that you have a thinking problem, not a drinking problem?
All the time. Yeah. And it's true.
Yeah.
The drink was my remedy for my mental health. So that's my thinking problem. So I have to focus on my thinking problem.
Yeah, I agree. My one sponsor said, hey, I want you to go through the big book whenever we were working the steps. And he says, every time you see the word drinking, I want you to replace that with thinking.
Mm-hmm.
He said, you don't have a drinking problem, you got a thinking problem. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of painful when somebody says it, but it's true.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that's really kind of one of the things that we focus on in recovery is, you know, getting someone sober can sometimes be the easy part. It's working at why were they into that addiction, trying not to trigger people.
And we've talked about that I feel like at exhaustion.
Yes.
Really.
That's the easiest part of recovery is getting rid of the alcohol, the drugs.
Like I share at work, man. It's you guys. I'm not setting aside the fact that you got a drinking and drug problem. I get it, but what the real problem is why you're into drinking and doing the drugs. Mm-hmm. And I've had a couple actually wake up to that thought and thought, you know what, you're right. I do drink to cover this up, or I use to cover this up. But then I always get those ones that just want to be like, oh, you said being sober is the easy part, man. Why can't I stay sober then? Oh, brother, you tell me, you know.
And just think, you can't stay sober, so you're not going to do the other stuff that's actually hard yet.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's get the easy part done first, and then we'll move into the harder parts of this later. But yeah, changing our thinking is not an easy thing to do, especially when we think we're worthless, when we think we're no good, we're not valued. Nobody really cares for us. We don't have a place that we fit in. And so it's hard to change our thinking. It truly is.
Are we moving on? Because I just looked ahead, and I'm excited about this.
And you're excited about it, huh?
Yeah.
He would be.
Yeah. Like you're not.
Oh, definitely.
So
Where we at?
before we do it, let's talk about it. So how do we change our thinking? I don't know if I put all that in there. Remapping should be in our little piece there. So in order to change the way we think, we have to start remapping ways that we can actually, or reframe our thinking, I guess is the other part that might be in there, because I think I listed it as reframing our thinking.
So providing techniques for changing negative thinking patterns,
Yeah.
along with
CBT.
the importance of Bible reading and meditating on what you've read.
So what did you just say, though?
CBT.
CBT,
CBT, yeah, I can.
not CBD.
Yeah, not CBT.
Okay, good. CBT.
CBT,
stands for-
cognitive behavioral therapy.
Yeah.
So we don't
Um,
know what
and so what is cognitive behavioral therapy?
Changes my thought processes, gets rid of my negative self-talk, and reframes it, or remaps it, I guess you would say, to more positive, so we build our self-esteem up and get confidence again.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, it's the thing that I told you earlier whenever we were texting, right? I said, we're going to talk about reframing later anyway. And it's the first thing in I almost said CBD as well. In CBT, it's the first thing that we tell them, is we have to start training our brain to think differently. One way to do it is practice mindfulness.
Mm-hmm.
What is mindfulness? Derek was just looking at his computer.
So
I was
that's
waiting
not
for-
mindfulness, right?
I was not being mindful at the moment. I was not. Thank you guys for pointing that out to
And just
everybody
being
worldwide.
And just the mindful to acknowledge and to identify my thinking patterns, what Jeremy just said a little while ago. And so then we can actually find ways to put distance between the way that we've been thinking and the way that we want to think. Is a really neat thing to try working on. Writing things down, and it turns it into reality. We're able to see what is real, what is just the story that I'm writing in my head, to help us practice mindfulness. The other way is addressing our inner critic.
How do you do that?
We have to speak truth to ourselves. And let's go back to writing it down. Because when we write, we're not going to write the story that we're writing in our head. So when we put pen to paper, we're able to actually make sense of the situation that just happened. And so we're able to really start addressing those issues and telling us, we've been told to go stand in front of a mirror and say, I love you, you have worth, you have value. And that's what you're going to end up doing to yourself, is telling you, no, that's a lie. That is a lie.
I think Ed Grimley taught me that.
Who?
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know who that is.
I don't either.
Don't worry about it.
Wow.
It was a Martin Short character, man. He wore a
On
little,
Saturday Night Live.
a
Yeah.
little flip in
never
the
watched
front.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
And he stood in front of the mirror and said, "People love you. You do matter."
No, who was that one that's like, I'm smart, I'm funny, and doggone it, people like me.
Yeah.
Is that him?
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So then let's go knowing your triggers. Another way to remap. So if you know the things that trigger you, you can stay away from them, do something about it. I already talked about writing it out. Gratitude list. My favorite thing ever.
Didn't we bring that up last week?
Nope.
Yeah, we've exhausted the gratitude list. We can move on.
Yeah.
Wait, what? We're not talking about eating yet.
No, but we're about to.
Okay.
I promise you. So gratitude list. There's a study done that says if you will write for 5 minutes what you're thankful for, what you're grateful for every day. So write what you're grateful for, why. It's actually like doubling your salary. Jeremy, would you like a double salary raise?
Oh, yes.
Then write. That's all you got to do. Wait.
Okay, I'll write myself into a double salary.
That'll work, right?
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
you go.
If I write a book.
Hey, 1 Thessalonians 5:18. How did Regan say it? Man, I wish I could remember because I like the way she said Thessalonians.
That's Ephesians.
Thessalonian or
Yeah, she said it.
Yeah.
Thessalonian?
So the Apostle Paul writes in 1 Thessalonians 5:18, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus. And of course, so the best way to remap your brain is truly to get in the Bible and start reading. Now you want to talk about your next piece.
Yeah.
So
what better self-care than to
Food.
find a good meal and
Food.
but don't overdo it. Eat to
Food.
live. Eat to live, don't live to eat.
So yeah, the next thing that happened was the angel of the Lord came back a second time, touched him and said, get up and eat, for the journey is too much for you.
Yeah.
Because that's the self-care piece coming in. Eating, we have to do. Now, I love food. Everybody here, I think, loves food. But I like fried chicken, double animal style with peppers. Not quite the food that we need for mental
I
health.
got 3 weeks for that.
Tacos.
You got 3 weeks.
3 weeks? 4 weeks?
Oh, you're going to Summit. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to pull a Shane and I'm going to get off the airplane and the first thing I'm going to do after get in my car and in and out, yeah. I've already mapped out the in and outs around the house and
Good.
oh yeah.
I've trained you well.
Well, it's delightful.
Yes, very much so.
It is delightful.
There is nothing depressing about an In-N-Out burger. I've just got to say.
That's very true. True story. And if anyone out there listening to this, watching us, has never had that, do yourself a favor and go experience it.
Head west.
Head west, young man.
Yes.
Head to the west. Head to the west.
Although another 5 years, we might get one near Nashville. So
Yeah.
there's that.
Yeah, I was pretty happy when they said that. So what else about food? I'm going to let somebody, because it feels like I've been talking a ton.
It's like one of the things that really helps out with my depression is not just eating the food, but the actual preparing of it. Taking the time out, cutting the vegetables or whatever it is I'm doing, and actually preparing a meal. Feels good.
Nice.
Brightens my day.
Nice. That's good.
He said it brightens my day.
It does. I get to cook with my daughter. It's going to be more fun.
Ooh.
That's going to be pretty awesome. But what else, when it comes to self-care, can we do besides eating and eating right? Because for mental health, the fried foods is not going to help us.
No.
No, probably not.
Yeah.
No. Maybe that's my problem.
Yeah, probably.
Exercise.
Okay.
Exercise.
Exercise, sleeping properly. I know we said that earlier, but that's part of self-care.
Mm-hmm.
Sleep.
Hobbies.
Exercise.
Something positive to do to help kind of refill you, recharge your batteries a little bit.
Like
Yeah.
disc golf on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
Whacking trees with plastic.
And then, yeah.
Yes.
Whacking trees with plastic. It's
Mine's
very
throwing a
thorough.
line in the water. You know,
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
Except for you get
That's
out
fishing.
fished.
Yes, I understand that.
Except for you get out fished by little man upstairs.
Actually, I beat him last Monday, and he was not happy. We were right over here at the subdivision pond. he's throwing in, and one cast right where he threw it in, right after him, and I just boom, and it came out and was about 4-pounder.
Nice.
Yeah, he was not happy. This is stupid. This is stupid.
So where he's been catching the 3.5 to 3.6, 3.7,
I caught a 4.
you caught a 4.
Yes.
We'll let him know that it was not the real weight, that you added something in the fish's mouth.
Right.
Make it weigh a little bit extra. Yeah, so anything else for self-care? Meds? I think meds is very, very important.
I think that's a big thing too. If you're listening to this and you know you're new to recovery and you are on medication, just don't think you have it all figured out and stop that without anybody else knowing,
Amen.
without your doctor knowing, without everybody. You know, Shane and I talked because when I got out of treatment, I was on the naltrexone, which is the anti-craving medication, and he kind of changed my views on that, but I was going to give it a year. And then after 6 months, I was like, man, you know what? I'm strong in my recovery right now. And is this really helping me? So I talked to you about it and talked to my wife about it and talked to my doctor. And I was like, I'm just going to come off this. And so I did. And I didn't notice a difference. But I also was doing other things for my recovery.
And that's the key. But now when we're talking psych meds, that's not it's not a psych med. It's to help you with your craving. The story that we get a lot, I don't know if you do, but okay, let me say the story that I get a lot. This isn't doing anything for me. I don't feel anything.
Yeah, it is. You've only been taking it for 2 weeks.
But if you listen to them, this isn't doing anything for me. I don't feel anything.
Oh.
What are you supposed to feel though?
That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
If something is working the way it's supposed to work,
You're not going to notice.
you're not really going to feel it. But you're not sleeping all day long. You're not curled up in a ball. You don't have all the suicidal ideations.
You're out enjoying life.
Yeah, you have a better quality of life. So you shouldn't feel anything. You know, so please never quit taking meds unless a doctor tells you how to do it.
Especially psychotic meds.
I like this one here though. Also, taking a Sabbath and actually having a true Sabbath where you just shut everything off from around you.
I was talking with somebody about that the other day, and yeah, they're like, I just go and go and go and go. And I'm like, well, when is your Sabbath? What's that?
Yeah.
Where do you want me to start?
And the funny thing is I've had sponsees look at me talking about, I have Sabbath on Sunday. Really? Because I see you shaking hands, you know, greeting people at the door, actually putting forth service work on your Sabbath day. He's like, yeah, but it's still Sunday. Nah.
What does a Sabbath look like, though?
It depends for who. I mean, you can do volunteer stuff, right? You just got to be careful. You need to be in the Bible, and it's about spending time with God.
Right. It kind of goes with that right heart, right mind, whatever you were sharing
Your
earlier.
Your motives, right
that's
heart, right
it.
motives. It's really, truly about spending time with God, delighting in Him. And your way to do it is what? Fishing. And that's what I hear a lot of people. They say, I have never been any more spiritual than when I'm up in a deer stand.
Mm-hmm.
And I say I would be no more, there wouldn't be a place that I could be any crazier than up in a deer stand doing nothing.
I love it.
Yeah. But for me, it would be going into the woods and whacking a tree with a piece of plastic, you know, or peering a line in the woods. Really, I always say hitting a tree. I would prefer not to hit the tree, but I really don't care. But if I could get in God's creation and spend time with God, I love it.
Yeah.
It is one of my favorite things to do.
Like
so.
our interviewee last week. Golf
Yeah.
is his thing now. And it's nice to get out into God's nature. And even if you're there with a bunch of other guys, you're still kind of, you're communing. You're
Yeah, and
together.
Yeah, and you need to be in community, and that's going to be that next big piece we're going to talk about. But there's nothing wrong, even if you're no good at it. Like Jeremy said, Mike was no good at golf.
He said,
I think that was the exact words.
It's
Mike,
No, it's not.
Just
the
go
exact
back
Put up
word.
the
to
quotation sign on that one. No good.
Mike, go back to the beginning. You'll hear it all.
Oh, he's not going to like me after he hears this. I can tell you that.
Who said he liked you to begin?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true.
But whatever it is that you could delight in and be with God, you need to spend some time in Scripture, without a doubt. Meditate on some Scripture. If you don't know what meditating is, I'll run through it real quick so we can move into the next section. But it's really taking a piece of Scripture, reading it over and over and over. And sometimes it's going to be an entire verse. Sometimes it's going to be maybe 2 words out of that verse or 1 word out of that verse. And you'll just start repeating that verse over in your head. Finally, you'll be able to close your eyes and say, okay, God, what do you want me to know from this? And just sit and be. And that's meditating on that, right? And God is hopefully going to show you what He wants to speak to you through that verse in that time. while
So
you're doing
then
it.
you said sit and be. The opposite of sit and be would be go and stand.
That next piece, go and stand. But how opposite is it? So I love that.
That's
I love
what
this
I'm
next
wondering.
piece. Let me get down to that piece of Scripture. Oh, where'd my Scripture go?
you did that at church yesterday, too.
Uh-oh.
I did what? Oh,
You lost everything.
He is getting old.
He pushed the button too long and he lost his street. He's like,
I pushed down on the screen too hard, and Everything went bye-bye. It was not good. It was not good at all. So after that, the last time when he said, get up and eat and drink, the journey's too much for you. Where'd it go? Let me find that little piece. See, you shouldn't have called me out. You called me out way too soon.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, it's all my fault now?
Uh-huh.
Okay, good.
There it is. So there he went into the cave and spent the night, and the word of the Lord came to him. What are you doing here, Elijah? Elijah replied, I have been very zealous for the Lord God Almighty. The Israelites have rejected your covenant, tore down your altars, and put your prophets to death with the sword. I am the only one left, and now they are trying to kill me too. And so that was probably one of the biggest mistakes that Elijah had at that time is believing that he was alone and that God wasn't with him, right? He's been on this journey all by himself. And that's when we'll go back to in just a moment, because I want to read the rest of the scripture. The Lord said, go out and stand on the mountain in the presence of the Lord, for the Lord is about to pass by. So let's go into 19:11 and 12 then real quick and just finish it off. Then a great and powerful wind tore the mountains apart and shattered the rocks before the Lord, but the Lord was not in the wind. And after the wind, an earthquake, but the Lord was not there. And then after the earthquake came a fire. So go stand. God is going to send us somewhere. AA, Celebrate Recovery, a doctor's appointment, a psychiatrist's appointment. And we're going to have to go, and we're truly going to have to be present. We're going to have to pay attention. We're going to have to listen. We're going to have to listen. And that's what they were telling Elijah here. Elijah goes out and tries in all the chaos to find God, to find the Lord. And that's where we always look for God is in the chaos.
But he's only in the whisper.
But that's the whole thing, that gentle whisper. And so if we'll sit and be obedient, if we'll go to the doctor and listen and not quit taking our meds until we've had a conversation with the doctor and be obedient, got to use that. We've said it, I think, even here, the only time God has really spoke in a big thing was for creation. And in creation, God spoke, and it was created. But everything else that we look at in Scripture is all about a gentle whisper.
Yeah.
And that silence, being with God. And that's what I love about this piece is we see the depression, the suicidal ideation for Elijah, all the way to the time that, and I mean, God even gave him what he needed along the way. He said, get up and eat. Then he's just said, get up at first, because he knows that when we struggle with depression that we're going to isolate. Then he tells him to get up and eat, because the problem is we like to isolate, then we don't like to do anything. We won't take care of ourselves. We won't take a shower. We won't eat properly. And so he says, get up and eat. And then, he sends them to this cave and says, hey, the Lord's about to pass by. And Elijah still just in all that looks in the chaos for God. I guess it's kind of like what Jesus did for the disciples when they freaked out because of the storm on the sea, right? Jesus, what are you afraid of? And goes out there and calms the storm. And it's just always in that calm. But we're letting that turmoil just really get to us. So I thought you were going to say something, man.
I've got nothing right now, man. You know what? Being still, it's funny we bring that up because I know back to what I was sharing about my depression earlier, and that I was looking for an answer over and wherever I could think I was able to find one. I just kept moving and trying to, but it wasn't until, and you seen the motion of it happening. You were sitting right next to me where I'm just like, and that's where it started. The whole being still part of my life started happening, was when I just let it go. So,
Jeremy, anything?
No.
No?
Oh, careful.
Yeah, sorry. No, not right now.
He said, no, not right now.
Right.
All right. Well, this is your only chance, really.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 'cause
well, yeah.
we're
mean,
wrapping
not-
it up,
yeah,
everybody.
Yeah, no, we're good.
Not that we're ever going to talk about this again. But this would be a good time to lay down some wisdom for us.
Next week's I can't.
You want
say
some wisdom?
it. Anxiety?
I want some
My
wisdom.
take on it.
Right.
I like the couple chapters before 1 Kings 19, which kind of sets everything up. But I like that we may feel.
I guess we'll have to talk about that sometime.
Yes, we will.
We may feel like worn down and defeated, but God never leaves us.
Amen.
Never.
Yep.
James,
What he
Jim.
said. I like it.
You can't. do
Psalm 41 through 3. I waited patiently for the Lord. He turned to me and heard my cry. He lifted me out of the slimy pit, out of the mud, out of the mire. He set my feet on a rock and gave me a firm place to stand. He put a new song in my mouth, a hymn of praise to our God. God is always with us.
Right on.
Yep.
And I want to bring up Philippians 4:8. Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about those things.
So eat. So we got to get up. We have to eat. We have to go stand. So get up. We can't live in isolation. Go eat. If we struggle with mental health, we have to eat healthy. We have to do self-care. And then go stand is about getting in the community, get a psychiatrist, see a therapist, see a counselor, follow their directions, take our meds as prescribed. Please, you're not a doctor. And if you are, you're not your own doctor.
Right.
How about that?
Oh, I like that one. That's good.
Because
Even doctors have a doctor.
They should, yeah.
most therapists better have a therapist.
Who has a therapist?
Right.
Yeah. And
Well,
hopefully
my
they're
chiropractor talks about it all the time. She's like, "Oh, I got to go get my stuff done because you can't, especially like chiropractor is a good example. You know, she can't manipulate herself to align herself, right? So you've got to go somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So why is it different for any other doctor or psychiatrist, counselor, psychologist, whatever?
Yeah, brain surgeon's not going to do brain surgery on themselves.
Let's hope not.
I hope not.
I might try it.
You would.
would.
All right.
I'm not a brain surgeon, but I might try it. It might be kind of fun.
No, but you did sleep at a Holiday Inn Express last night. Jeez.
Easy.
I like those commercials, but if I said I slept at a Holiday Inn Express last night,
We all know that you're lying.
yeah.
Or he's depressed and we need to talk to him.
Right, we need to go save him. Yeah.
He needs his community. He needs to get up and
Yes.
stand.
All right.
I do need to stand. I've been sitting way too long.
It is time for us to stand. You guys, we want to thank you all for joining us. Looks like follow us, whatever it is you listen on, whatever works for you. Follow us, like, share, all that good stuff, man. We just thank you guys for joining us. Peace out.
Talk to you next week.
Yeah, and hop on and shoot us an email or at least a comment in the comment section. We love to know that you're here. We love to connect with you in one way or the other, and we love to bring you on and talk to you.
Yes.
I love stories, so
That'd be good.
deuces.
See ya.